Welcome to the Parenting on the Spectrum show with board-certified behavior analyst and infant-toddler development specialist, Theresa Alexander Inman. Parenting on the Spectrum dives into real stories, challenges, and triumphs, offering invaluable insights and support for families on your unique journey. Let's get into the episode.
Welcome. So happy to have you here today. My guest is Ellie Moss. She is I'll just say she built Lickety Pop, which is Lickety Pop. I feel like I have a new tongue today. Okay, let me start again. Ellie Moss built Lickety Pop with intentional sensory considerations, and she's going to tell us all about what that means. And here is Miss Ellie. Thank you so much for being here, Ellie. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, Theresa. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Excited to have you. Hopefully my tongue has worked its issues out and we'll be fine from here on in.
I'm sure.
So Lickety Pop, what is it?
I know it sounds funny and very whimsical, and that's exactly what it is. It's a children's book. It's actually a magical universe that I created at a time that I needed softness and gentleness the most. And I created a world that I wanted to live in. And it's very gentle, very soft, full of candy. It's Lickety Pop. We have volcanoes that fizz soda. We have, syrupy swamps that you can get stuck in. But every single place is somewhere safe to land. So I designed it with, if you landed barefoot in Lickety Pop, you would be safe. There are no hard edges or sharp edges. So I created that universe first. The atmosphere is what I wanted to absorb myself in or immerse myself in. And then from there, the characters grew and it became an amazing universe where you can be you can be gentle but strong. You don't have to be loud and noisy. And we learn things in Lickety Pop, but in a gentle, calm, predictable way.
Awesome. It sounds like it's a neuroaffirming and trauma-informed type place.
Yes, I definitely would agree with you on that. And I feel that as adults, we still need a quiet, soft place to land. We still need movement away from the overstimulated universe that we have here. And it's great. We're so fortunate to be in this age. We have TV and knowledge and internet, and everything's kind of bombarding us. And it's fine. I'll say fine. But there definitely comes a time where we need just to have somewhere soft or just gentle and maybe quiet to just sit and recalibrate, regulate our emotions a little bit better so we can engage with that full-on lifestyle that we have.
Yes, and that is so important. I'm actually reading a book right now called Deep Work, and it's all about that, spending that focused time away or just spending that time just to be. Because it is important for us to recharge. Because like you said, there's so much input coming at us all the time. When do we get to, first of all, integrate the things that serve us and then flush out the things that don't, right? That's only when we have that time where we can actually, recharge and be in that calm.
That's so true. And on a personal note, my personal experience was that I had not given myself that time. We live in a world, especially women, where we're capable, we're turned on, we're the ones that are reliable and capable. And our reward for being capable is being more capable. So we're always on. And when you do it in your professional life and you come home, regardless of your family situation, you're still always on. You're always performing in some sort of way. So when you want your downtime, it ends up being doom scrolling or watching TV. And I would say that I was functioning really well. I had a high functioning life, but that's not the same as being well. And I realized that being a capable person became my default identity, but it truly wasn't me. So there came a really tough moment where I had to stop, listen, and truly understand what I was. And not to feel guilty for taking that time out to recalibrate or to take that moment. And for someone, and a lot of women, when you're always on, that's so tough. You feel guilty. So unfortunately for me, it came at a point where I didn't really have a choice. I realized it was not sustainable the way that I was going now. And I realized For me personally, I was a bit of a shell to what I could be. On the outside, I was fine, successful, whatever you want to say, exterior, but inside it really was a different story. So I looked and tried to find something that I could just slow down and take a deep breath, and I couldn't find anything. And so I created Lickety Pop. And that became my world to slow down. When I was working on this universe, I was immersed. I took deep breaths and I realized, wow, just how good it felt. And then I thought that as adults, we are very fortunate, most of us, to have unlimited access to knowledge. We have anything we want in our fingertips. We can have help, support, family, friends. We can go to a coffee place and relax. And children don't really have that. They're very limited in their access. So they don't get to jump in the car and drive to a friend's house for a little powwow. They don't get to jump on the internet and search for a therapist and something to help them. So as I started to explore Lickety Pop, and when I had the courage to say, oh, this is going to be very helpful to the world, do I want to share it? And that was a whole thing on its own, obviously. I gravitated towards children's books. I realized that, number one, children's books is a place that you don't have to perform. You can just be you. They're honest, they're natural. You're not on, you're not performing, you're not jumping through loops to make it exciting for them. You're just you. And I was reading a lot of children's books. I'm very involved in that universe. And some of them are great. We all have great ones. But I realized over the years, we kind of got to more stimulation. Here's a big message. Here's a big point. Let's make this really, really exciting. That's great. Kids love that. But there is a time, especially when children crave predictability, routine, a really safe place. We never really had it. And so I felt the Lickety Pop would be an amazing resource in that regards, especially when we have the neurodivergent children who do like the predictability and the routine, and they do have to have a place to regulate their emotions. They can do it in Lickety Pop knowing it's safe. So yes, long story short, that's exactly where I ended up.
And again, so well needed, because when we think of, media, just all the things that the devices that children are on every day, they go so fast, they're overstimulating, they become overwhelmed, and they become addicted to a lot of these things, right? They're, because it becomes part of their day. And like you said, because they like predictability, it remains part of their day, and sometimes a big part of their day. And we know that screens actually negatively impact brain development. So it's really important that they have something else to go to, somewhere they can escape and read, dare I say, in this world where, everybody's using these, I don't know, LOL and H whatever. And you know what I mean? It's just like, I can't even think of them because I refuse to use them. But it's like nobody's reading, nobody's using words anymore. And it's really nice to have a world to escape to where there are words and soft colors and just soothingness.
Yes, yes. And I'm so glad you said that, because everything in this universe is intentional. I chose a pastel colored palette on purpose. We don't want loud, bright colors. What's the use of having a soothing story when you're bombarded with brightness? And don't get me wrong, Lickety Pop is colorful. It's beautiful. It's a candy world. We don't eat the candy because we're healthy, but they live in it. We have Lickety Pop fruits that they eat, giggleberries, marshmallow clouds and all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. But everything is soothing and gentle. It follows a routine. And yes, the kids will always have TV. They'll always have games. They'll always have their stimulated days. But after all that arc, it would be really nice to settle down with a book that you can read calmly. And it still has adventure. The book is exciting. We go through things, but we're not doing it for the sake of excitement or the jumping and the yelling and the pop. It's just a very smooth arc that it has its intention, it has its underlying message, but it's not preachy. So when kids read it, they can calm down. It really should calm them down, and it can help them regulate their emotions throughout the day of what's happened. And then they can read the story. It's funny. It has cute characters. And then they can either end their day like that in a better state, or they can end the day knowing this is the book I read every night because I know nothing bad's going to happen in it, and it's a soothing opposition to what the day would have been.
Awesome. And I want to say thank you for calming my nervous system, because when you talked about a world of candy, I was like, oh my Lord, I am like one of those people, please don't give your children candy. And you talk about this world of candy, and then you said, we don't eat them. We've got giggleberries and different things,
Yes.
like, oh, thank you.
Yes. No. I'm very health conscious. And the great thing is they live in a candy world, and it's made up candy. We don't have true lollipops or true ice cream. You never have those words in the world. It's very different. But you see it in the background, and it's a fun background. Kids can pick little things, Easter eggs, as they're exploring. But it's never used as a food. So it's in the background, but never intentionally brought up as candy. It's more of a visual
Awesome.
guide. Yeah.
And I think that is a great lesson also, because we're in a world bombarded with all kinds of things. We don't have to participate in them. And I think it's a great lesson for that, right? A great lesson to, it's just like, yeah, just because you see it, just because you're surrounded by it, we can still exercise self-control and not indulge.
Exactly. I love that takeaway as well. It's perfect.
Wow. I'm like, this sounds so cool.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's a super cute universe, and I can keep talking about this book for ages because it really resonates with me and how it helped me through it. And when I think about what's out there sometimes, I intentionally made a book with I said predictable emotional arcs, but it's more than that. We start off with a day without the need to, hey, it's breakfast. Hey, it's 9:00. Hey, we've got to go to school. No, we don't actually have time in Lickety Pop, and that sounds crazy. We have morning, afternoon, at night, but it's never, hey, it's morning, we have this. It's never the night is 3 hours long. It is what it is. We get up, we enjoy the day, it's soft, and then we get into a little adventure, whatever it is. The first book is Dibs the Dragon, and he's a very kind dragon, and he's helpful. And I wanted to mention that Lickety Pop doesn't teach kindness as a message. Lickety Pop's atmosphere is kindness. It is. You don't get to choose it. You don't get to intentionally be kind. That's where you are. That's where you live every day. So it's not a reward. It's not something that you try to be. So I try to instill these basic foundational qualities that we want our kids to grow up with as just part of the background. Just that's what it is. You're just kind. So that's how it kind of starts. And then at the end, when all the craziness, I say craziness in a funny way, it's not totally crazy. I call it cozy chaos because it's contained. We all end up on the Gumdrop Hill outside his jelly bean cave with his friends, and they're relaxing and resting and looking at the sky and the constellations, and every book ends the same. We know it. It's repetition. It's predictability. And that's what I was really hoping for, especially with the neurodivergent, where I want them to feel safe to explore the themes in the book, because every book does have a theme. It's underlying. So the first book is about friendship and helping, because that's what you do. You just help if someone's in trouble. You don't help for a reward. You don't help because you're going to gain something. You help because that's what you do. And Dibs the Dragon has a motto, and it's dragons help. And he says that throughout the series. And so when that happens, it's not promoted as a lesson, but it's there, it's underlying, it's subconscious. And then at the end of every single book, I have a poem specifically related to that underlying message. And the poem it's a twofold poem. The first one, it resonates with the children. It has the fun words in there, it's rhyming, it's cute, but I intentionally made it for adults too. Because as adults have been reading this, and I've heard feedback, is they get calm when they read it. They feel like they're immersed in this calm, soothing world, and they get benefit too. And they told me, well, I didn't think I would feel like that reading a children's book, and they do. So the poem resonates a lot with the adults just as much as the children.
Awesome. Could you read us one of those poems, please?
Sure, I can. Well, this is Dibs the Dragon and the Marshmallow Rescue, and it starts with him trying to, be friendly. He's helping the Sneasel fairies and the jelly bean gummies coming back to their caves, and he's lonely. He wants a best friend. And one day he hears little marshmallow mole called Mooch, struggling in a swamp. and he uses creativity to help him, and they untangle each other. Now they're glued together, they become best friends. That's the story in a nutshell. And the end poem is called Sticky Paws, Squishy Hearts. Sometimes a friend comes out of the blue, not sparkly or perfect, but perfect for you. They might hiccup or wiggle or wear jelly bean shoes, but something about them feels warm and true. So here's to the friends who arrive with a splat, a little bit sticky and perfect like that. Hold on to each other through syrup or song, because being together is where we belong.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I felt
Thank
it.
you.
I felt the
Yeah.
poem.
Thank you. Yes, yes. I do like this poem.
Yeah, very cool. And it's so like you said, the theme, you talk about these themes which resonate so much because it's about being, right? It's not about doing. And my husband always reminds me we're human beings, not human doings, right? And
Perfect.
when we take time to be, we're actually pretty awesome.
Yes.
And when we allow children to be, we see the awesomeness that is in them because we're in this world, we're always so focused on them doing, and being like trying to perform. And the way I look at it, when you expect children to form, sometimes they have stage fright. Like, it
Yes.
just becomes really difficult. Like, parents will say, well, they won't do this and they won't do that. Well, just observe them, and you might see it happen in a moment where there is no stress, in a moment where it's not being required or demanded of them to do so. Just allow them to be, and you will see the magic. Parents used to tell me, come and do your magic. And honestly, my magic was allowing children to be
I love
instead
that.
of trying to get them to do.
Yes, I love that, Therese. And that's kind of where I was going, because as I observe children, like you said, it's exactly right. When no one's looking at them or expecting, they default to amazing people, like you mentioned. So I kind of hope this book is more of a tool to allow them to do that.
It sounds like it. I mean, it's just, oh, I am so excited for you in this whole and it's a series of books, correct?
Correct, yes. We launched this first book 27th of January. We also do have a colouring and companion that's more for the adults as well as the kids to enjoy. It's all unique characters. And then we do plan to be releasing more in the future. So I do have quite a few lined up and they're in the process. So hopefully once this one comes through, you can see more and more.
Awesome, awesome. Let's look at the book. You have one on hand, yes?
I sure do. Thank you so much. So this is Dibs that you can see.
Mhm.
And he's a cute dragon. He blows bubbles because not all dragons have to be tough and scary and blow fire. His strength is in the gentleness of himself. And he's just a helpful little dragon. And there's a Sneasel fairies there and he's blowing bubbles to keep them having fun. And then he's helping the little jelly beans back to their home. And then he's a bit lonely. He wants a best friend.
Oh,
He's super cute. And so we travel, and this is where we meet Mooch, and I'll just skim to that. And there's Mooch, the little marshmallow mold. He's stuck, and he's going to help him. So as you can see, the color palette is really soft and pastel. I wanted to draw attention to the writing. I've used words that are very age appropriate. I am not expecting the kids to learn adult words in a way. Of course, I'm not using too much of a childish word. We do have things that are smart for them to learn, but not something that's not in their age group. And I've used short sentences and we've repeated words. I'm not sure if you can see. We've also made some of them funny sounding. The
yes.
kids, they really enjoy repeating the glorp, the splat, the stuff like that. And the words are, for example, Mooch leapt, squish, and clung to the vine with his sticky paws. Nothing there is difficult for them to read or understand. Not that I want to preach right now, but I just don't want them to get stuck on a very long sentence, lose the thread of that sentence, and lose the storyline. It happens a lot. So everything is short and simple. in a way for them to really immerse themselves in what that story is about. They're not trying to think, what does that word mean? Where did I come to this point in the sentence? Anything like that. I want them just to read it. So the whole being flows through them in that state.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And, I also just picked up on another theme of acceptance because everybody's different and they're
Yes.
still getting along,
Yes.
even though, the sticky paws can be a little like, However, nobody's judging sticky paws.
No, and thank you for noticing that. That was one of my intentionalities. We're all different. We all know this, and sometimes being different is not accepted widely. So in this book, we have the two characters, but every book following, I do introduce new ones, and we're going to have a beautiful gang of friends by the end of it. And wow, they have their own unique things. Some of them are grumpy. Some of them cause magical mayhem because he's not as good as a magician as he thinks he is. His name's Fizzlenut, so he's coming in book 3. Yes, but at no point ever is anyone's personality or traits ever questioned. Mooch, this marshmallow mole, I might be giving away too much. He ends up being a bit of a troublemaker sometimes. He wears edible pants because he's too lazy to have breakfast, so he eats his pants during the day. And it causes trouble and mayhem, and it's cute. Never judge. Accepted. We love Mooch. So thank you. And that's another thing of just the atmosphere. We don't draw attention to it during the books. We don't say, hey, guess what? We're not picking on this person. It's there. So I'm hoping that the subconscious and underlying theme is resonated and picked up slowly as they reread the books, as they continue through the series.
Yes, yes. And thank you for mentioning grumpy because honestly, when you said that, I was thinking of the parents who tell their children, don't be upset. We all get upset. It's okay to be upset. Let's teach them how to manage that instead of telling them not to, because it's a normal feeling. It's part of who they are. It's part of who we all are. If we didn't get upset, we would not effect change in this world.
You're so right in that. I keep throwing some of the future books out, and I apologize, but one really said that. He's called the Blah, and he comes in book 8, and he's grey and dull and boring. My word, boring, because you live in a colourful world. You live in Lickety Pop. Well, when the characters meet him, and he's grumpy and he's miserable, they don't say that. They don't say, "Hey, cheer up. You need colour in your life." No, they accept him. Come along with us for the day. And he just does it. And then at the end of the book, he does a bit of a smile, or he does a bit of a shake. He's not that grumpy anymore. But the book was never about him getting out of the grumpiness. Never about him, hey, let's be on, let's perform, let's be happy. No, it's accepting his mood for the way that it is. And you're allowed to change moods. And it happens just naturally. So thank you. Yes.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So, so beautiful. I always tell parents, validate your child's feelings instead of telling them how to feel or how not to feel. Just say, listen, I get that you feel that way.
I
It's
love that.
okay. It's really okay. It's part of who you are. It doesn't change who you are. And like you said, there's no judgment. And when we approach children without judgment, it's amazing what we'll see, how they develop, how they learn, because they don't feel judged. They're open to trying new things. They're open to just being themselves. So we see the awesomeness that they truly embody.
I love that, Theresa. That's exactly right.
So cool. Ellie, where can people find your book?
Well, you can find it on the website, www.licketypop.com. We have exclusive bundles on the website for hardcover. However, the paperback will be launched on Amazon on the 27th of January. So you can also do it through there.
Awesome. And if there's anything that you want to say before we end our time together today, please share anything that's in your heart, any thoughts that you want to impart to parents.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for having me on. I wanted to say that I want these books to feel like a soft place to land for the parents and the children. I feel that they could be a really co-regulating experience and a bonding experience, because there's nothing that's not predictable in the book. So when it is gentle and predictable, their nervous system can relax enough to engage. So I want to go away with the thought that I'm not trying to teach a lesson, but I'm more about creating an emotional environment where they will feel safe enough to explore. And then the adults can go along with that.
Oh, that is so beautiful and so important. It makes me think of one of my themes with parents. Spend at least 20 minutes alone with your child, doing something that they enjoy. And the reading the book could be one of those things because you go into their world and you explore it and experience it with them. And like Ellie said, it's a great co-regulating experience because when you're dysregulated, your child is dysregulated and so on. So it's like it goes both ways. So your child regulates you and you regulate your child. So doing something together, spending time together, doing something that uplifts you. Because I mean, when they're on their devices, it's difficult for you to do it with them. Reading this book kind of takes us back to when life was simpler
Yes.
and less chaotic.
Yes. Very true.
And children need that. Like I keep saying, the soft place to land, provide that for them, invite them into that world and make it magical.
Exactly. I love that.
All right. Well, thank you, Ellie. Really enjoyed having you with us today and sharing your heart and your gift and just making, doing your part to make this world a better place.
Thank you so much, Theresa. I really appreciate having me on there. Thanks.
You are most welcome. And to our audience, thank you so much for watching. Ellie gave you the website. Go there. And we'll see you next week, same time,